And what steps do we take? Because it's complicated on our side of the street. Because, number one, we're dealing with black trauma. Then you add religious trauma. Then we stay in our I elevate bubble. I'm asking two things. You understand?
Yes.
Does that sound like a fair question?
Yes.
What does the leader do?
Yes.
Because there's so many people, so many pastors, as you would probably know,
Yes.
that desire to have this conversation, but they want to have it in secret. Because at the end of the day, they got to pay the mortgage. The church has got tithes. But people are dying. You know, we're dying. And we're dying not so much for affirmation, but we're dying for equity.
That's right.
We want to be seen as valuable as everybody else in the room, without compromising anything. And so I appreciate you affirming the work that we've done. I think what's important is the steps. What are the steps on both sides of the bridge to get to each other?
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah. Nelson Mandela said, unforgiveness is drinking poison, hoping the other person gets sick. And so what is incumbent on this community is, are you prepared to forgive us? Or are you committed to unforgiveness? So there are people who came in the room with clenched teeth, trying to figure out why I'm here.
Yeah, you felt it. You felt it.
Yeah, where is this going? What does this mean? Can we receive that level of forgiveness? We talked about in the pandemic, there emerged a phraseology of toxic masculinity. But we do not talk about fragile masculinity. And fragile masculinity is, can I hug and embrace you without questioning my own sexual identity?
You know, as I've seen Jamal Bryant rise with this Target boycott and all the attention and everything that he has received as a result of it, in particular within the black bougie elite, within that black triumvirate that I talk about when it comes to the black pastors, the black community leaders, the black Greek organizations, the Prince Hall Freemasons, the athletes, the entertainers, academia, and the politicians. You know, I've seen Jamal Bryant rise. Jamal Bryant had a time where he was down, when he had gone through his scandal with his first wife, when he had cheated and done some other things. Jamal Bryant had fallen down. But ever since he's been at New Birth and has taken over the mantle from Bishop Eddie Long, Jamal Bryant has been on a steady rise back to quote unquote relevance in the conversation in the black church. He has. He's been everywhere over the last few years. And this is something that just dawned on me. Ever since the days of Obama and prior to Obama, they've always wanted to disrupt the strength of Christianity in the black community. Because black people, regardless of what may be portrayed in the media, regardless of this culture that other people want to push on black people, by and large, still are the most conservative group within America. They still retain their values of conservatism. Most black people do not agree with the LGBTQ lifestyle. Most black people do not agree with same-sex marriage. It's not marriage in the eyes of black people. They may not say that out loud because they don't want to be jettisoned from the cookout, but deep down inside, they know it's an abomination to the Lord. They know that because they still want to be invited to the cookout. They still want a seat at the table. They're not going to say it. They'll stay quiet. But by and large, most black people don't agree with it. So what do you have to do if you're trying to advance an agenda? If you want to destroy a community, what do you have to do? You have to unmoor them from biblical values. You have to unmoor them from biblical truth. And so who do you have to use? You have to use the black preacher. Because again, the black preacher, the black pastor has been used throughout history to cause the black community to stumble. Going all the way back to Margaret Sanger pushing the birth control pill to the black church, Abyssinian Baptist Church, back in the 1930s. Fast forward to Dr. King being given the Margaret Sanger Award for pushing Planned Parenthood. All those things are not coincidental because the people that want to destroy America have started in the black community. That's why it's so important that people pray for restoration in the black community, because if they cannot utilize black people to push their agenda to destroy America, then America will be able to be salvaged. But their plan is to use black people to continue to usher in this revolution that they want. And so they have to use black people to do it. Why do you think they used President Obama to push in the LGBTQ and normalize it? Because they needed a black face to do it. And they were going to use Kamala Harris to push this trans stuff. She was going to be the person they were going to use for the trans agenda because she has a brown face and people are more apt to receive it. But getting back to Jamal Bryant, I've noticed Jamal Bryant's steady rise, and I just put it together. Well, I would say the Lord just kind of showed it to me. Jamal Bryant passed their initiation test. He passed the test. And you may say, what is the test? Well, the test was that Jamal Bryant had to go through the initiation, the humiliation, to bend the knee to the LGBTQ. In order for a black preacher to be elevated into the mainstream, he has to be humbled. He has to be subjugated to the LGBTQ. He has to pledge his loyalty. He has to affirm their lifestyle. That's how Jamal Bryant is now the face of black Christianity. Mark my words. Jamal Bryant has become the face of black Christianity to mainstream America. He has. He is on that trajectory to be that black face of Christianity. To be that person that people, Al Sharpton is fading away. Jesse Jackson is on his last legs. There's nobody there to fill the void. So therefore, they had to groom somebody else to take Al Sharpton's place. This is where Jamal Bryant comes in, and this is where Jamal Bryant's conversation with the gay bishop in Atlanta comes in. It's all orchestrated. Jamal Bryant has been groomed for the last few years because he's a compromised person. He's compromised. He has no values. He's a compromised person. See, he's the perfect person for them to use in order to push this agenda in the black community, to continue that lineage of pushing victimization and oppression in the black community. They needed another compromised person like Al Sharpton. He was compromised. Jesse Jackson was compromised. Dr. King was compromised. All these people were compromised. So they need another compromised person to do it. And who do they choose? They choose a person over a large church in the city of Atlanta, a compromised city to begin with. And this right here was the moment when Jamal Bryant passed that test.
But we do not talk about fragile masculinity. And fragile masculinity is, can I hug and embrace you without questioning my own sexual identity?
Dr. Bryant.
With their own Nicodemus syndrome that have to see behind closed doors. Are dealing with their own suppressed closet lifestyle. The Black Church Bishop talks about there are three dimensions of sin. The three dimensions of sin are thought, word, and deed.
Yes, sir.
The black church only focuses on deed.
On deeds.
But there are a whole lot of mental homosexuals. They're not practicing, but they're thinking. And because of that, they can't have their conversations. So they don't have a relationship, but they have a porn site. So once we work through all of those different variables and those different levels, so it may have to be a closed door to work out those wrinkles before we can come out in public space. I'm hoping that this is that first step towards doing that.
Because I think the missing dialogue, the first missing dialogue, is just a conversation on basic sexuality.
Yes.
And basic, the human condition.
Yes.
I always say within the heterosexual community, there's a lot of conversation that needs to happen.
Yes.
Before we can get to some other conversations.
Right.
And again, as you said, I also hope that those conversations can happen.
I've been divorced for 12 years. And when I got divorced, I was on the board for every mainline black evangelical organization.
Yeah.
When I got divorced, one by one, I got Federal Express letters that brought me off of it. I want to invite all of you, because you're under Bishop Allen, you're smart, you're critical thinkers, you're intelligent, do independent research. In that time, every major black preacher's daughter got divorced. And when they got divorced, they changed their theology. Because it was palatable to their house. Our mutual friend, Dr. McMillan, who's with us. I was on my way flying 2 weeks ago. And a member of the trans community was in the Atlanta airport. And they were walking towards me. And I'm walking towards them. Bishop, full transfer, I'm having a conversation in my head as they're walking up on me. And they passed me. I passed them, going to my gate. They turned around, they work for Delta, turned around and stopped me and said, are you Pastor Bryant? I got on a hat, sunglasses. I said, yes, I'm Pastor Bryant. Says, I listen to you since you were in Baltimore. And when I heard that you were coming to I Elevate, I can finally come see you. Because I didn't think you would welcome me. Bishop, I wanted to drop down on Concourse B for God sending me a reminder on how humble you have to be in the sacredness of carrying God's gospel.
Come on now.
How it is that you can wound people. We talk about be careful how you treat people.
Absolutely.
You can be entertaining angels. So that moment, that is just 3 days after I left you in New Orleans. That moment confirmed for me, Sean, to tell you, in close quarters, I wrestled about coming here. I'm telling you, I wrestled about coming here until I saw you in the street in New Orleans. I'm Bishop, we here. I was trying to figure out how to cancel. I'm telling you, I was trying to figure out how to get out of this. I looked for every possible way of how it is. I saw you on the street. In my head, I said, I can tell them now. I got something else to do, something to come up. The dog that ate my homework. I'm telling you, Bishop, And so I'm giving you the backdrop of you saying to me in the street that you needed me to come as a bridge. Stopped my cancellation. So when I said to you, I needed you to say that to me, is that God had to use you to arrest me for this assignment. And so I'm thankful that you didn't give me an emergency exit.
And I hope you could hear that audio. The audio wasn't the best, but essentially, that was Jamal Bryant's initiation moment. That was the moment Jamal Bryant signaled to the handlers of the black bougie elite, the Marxists and the communists, the white liberals that are behind the black triumvirate. That's when he signaled to them. That's like the bat signal. I'm available. I'm available. Al Sharpton is getting older. Jesse Jackson's gone. I'm available. I'm available. I'm available. And because he was compromised, because he was willing to do anything for that attention and for that position, he's now being elevated as the voice of black Christianity. We're not victims. We are empowered for greatness.